the power of forgiveness to bring you a life of abundance. Ooh, are we throwing stones from self-appointed thrones? Hi, and welcome back to Elevate. I'm Jen Smith, and this is the show where we launch your life of purpose, passion, peace, and we set a fire in your soul to live the life you were designed. I have something that might surprise you, and that is that forgiveness is possibly the one thing standing between you and the life that you've been praying for. Yeah, I know. Sounds ridiculous, right? That's not your typical self-help message, which is good because the self-help industry is like $1 billion industry. It clearly needs a fresh perspective because it's not helping anybody. Stay with me because you have dreams, you've got goals, and you're working on your mindset, your vision board, and your habits. But if your heart is still holding on to bitterness, resentment, or offense, then there is a ceiling over your breakthrough. And maybe you don't think it is, but I'm telling you it is. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. You can't attract your dream life while carrying the weight of somebody else's sin. Oh, sin. Just think of it as feelings or somebody else's emotions. Unforgiveness clogs your spirit. It drains your peace. And whether you realize it or not, it repels the very thing you're trying to call in or attract. Today's episode is not just about being a better person. It's about freedom and unleashing your dreams. It's about unleashing the flow of blessing that God already wants to send you. It's like there's a dam up. We got to open the floodgates. And for some of you, this might be an episode that unlocks the abundance that you've been seeking, the love you've been seeking, the clarity, success that you've been chasing, that we should be attracting. All right, so let's take a deep breath and let's talk about forgiveness. Stay with me because we're not talking about it as a feeling, but as the launch button to the life you want to live. So let's go back to the beginning. Are we throwing stones from self-appointed thrones? You know, that line I stole from Megan Maroney. It's the lyrics to her song, Bless Your Heart, which I don't really love the song, but I love that line. Are we throwing stones from self-appointed thrones? Think about that. Doesn't that hit? Because the truth is, it's easy to think, I'm a good person. I mean, I've never stolen and haven't murdered anybody. I'm not a sinner. I'm not out here scamming people. But sin isn't just that stuff. It's gossip, envy, bitterness, selfishness, impatience, pride, jealousy, indifference, laziness. How about white lies? Those too. Those are sins. You know when things started to shift for me was the moment I started recognizing myself in that list. Not in a shameful way, not to beat myself up kind of way, but in an honest, humbling way. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And suddenly, judging someone else just doesn't feel so satisfying to me anymore. Because I start to see a piece of myself in their flaws. And then you realize, oh my gosh, we're all human. We all fall short. We all do these things. Remember, the topic is forgiveness here. We're all wrestling. We're all trying. So before we criticize or condemn or hit the cancel button, we have to ask ourselves, are we throwing stones from self-appointed thrones? And then you think, wait a minute, the girl in this story, that's me. She's me. All right, so picture this. Still might not see yourself. You're venting to someone, blah, blah, blah. Not screaming. Not dragging them or anything. You just don't like how a friend of yours handled something and you're telling somebody. It feels like a little gossip session, but no, to you it's not. It's just spilling a little tea. It's harmless, right? And then boom, you found out that that person was talking about you to someone else, saying stuff behind your back. And immediately you're like, are you kidding me? Like, how dare she? You run to your best friend, you're hurt, you're fired up, and you start going off about it. But wait a minute. Didn't you just do the same thing a minute ago? Spilling a little tea, remember? Kind of hard to slander her when she is you. Interesting, right? And this right here is the moment forgiveness walks in. When you recognize yourself in their flaw, when you feel the sting of your own behavior staring back at you like it's a mirror, it should make it really hard to judge her now, shouldn't it? Maybe she felt insecure. Maybe she made a mistake, just like you did. And that's the moment you decide to let it go. That's when you forgive. And it's not because she deserves it, but because you deserve freedom. John 8:7 says, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I'm sure you've all heard that. Even if you're not into God, this wasn't a metaphor. Jesus literally said it to a crowd ready to kill a woman who was caught in sin. And one by one, they started dropping their stones and they walked away because they all saw themselves in her a little bit. And grace doesn't mean being a doormat. Forgiveness isn't saying the behavior was okay. It doesn't mean you stay in a toxic situation. It doesn't mean you ignore patterns that need boundaries. You can forgive someone and still protect your peace. You can love them and still walk away. I call it loving them at a distance. You can let go of bitterness without letting them walk all over you. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the weight of carrying it, not inviting in more pain. It's setting your soul free and remembering we all fall short. And this act of forgiveness is where God shows up with grace for both of you. He starts to get involved. Forgiveness says, I release you not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace, and then God gives you the peace. So remember this today. When you truly start to see yourself as a sinner, which is, remember, not as you think anymore, not in a shameful way, but in a surrender way. You stop throwing stones. You start offering grace to people, because real freedom comes when you release judgment and pick compassion instead. So today, if you're holding a stone, the one that's meant for someone who hurt you, who disappointed you, or doesn't live how you think they should, just pause. Look at your hand and then look at your heart and ask, am I throwing stones from a self-appointed throne? And if so, maybe it's time to put the stone down and let grace speak instead. We're all after a life of peace and purpose and joy and abundance. When you put the stone down and you love the unlovable, or when you forgive somebody who hurt you, God rains the abundance, the peace, and the joy down on you. Let it go and let Him shower you for it. That's it for today. So could a hard act like forgiveness lead to a breakthrough of you getting unstuck, of you receiving joy, of receiving love, and receiving a life of abundance and a life of your dreams by letting go, by forgiving? Absolutely. You let go, lighten your load, and let God pour all the things that you're dreaming about down on you. And that's it for today on Elevate. If you found something valuable in this and you think it might help a friend, please share. Also subscribe, like, comment. That really helps me grow. I'd appreciate that. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok, but that's like the front porch. YouTube is like coming in and having coffee. That's where we really get to the nitty-gritty of it. You can also go to launchyourrocket.com. That's my website. We can connect there. I have a community there, and I have some courses you can enjoy. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you next time on Elevate.